Do you think it's God's will for you to have sex with a demon in your dreams? Obviously not. You're scrolling, you see some girl shaking her butt, right? And then you just like keep looking. You're literally opening the door. You're giving Satan access. All right, y'all. So today I'm going to break down one of the most asked questions I get, because let's be real. Wet dreams are very common among Christians, and this is kind of like a gray area in the Bible. Because have you ever wondered if it's a sin to have a wet dream? Like, let's say you wake up and you feel this wave of guilt and you're just like, God, did I sin? What happened? Right? I'm going to give you guys the clarity you guys need, because this is something I dealt with as well. And I'm going to share with you guys what the Bible tells us. Even if it doesn't explicitly tell us about wet dreams, it still has implications that can apply to this area. Stay to the end, because I know you're going to get the clarity you need. So the first thing you must understand is this: you're not in control when you're sleeping. It's so important to keep in mind, because we can't control it. We wake up and we feel this guilt that the enemy's trying to deceive us with, but it wasn't us doing the action, right? And that's what the devil is trying to get you to feel. He wants you to feel condemnation. He wants you to feel guilt right after you supposedly fall into sin when you're sleeping. But you must understand that why it's not a sin is because you're not consciously in control of it. Now, with that said, it can still cause you to sin, because sometimes when you're trying to abstain from lust or abstain from sexual immorality, the enemy is going to attack you with these dreams to get you to think about these things again. That happened in my life. Whenever I tried to break free from lust, the enemy would send these demonic dreams my way. But what I did in those moments, I'm going to break down in a few moments. Your dreams can be a reflection of your spiritual state. Because let's be real, a lot of times we have these wet dreams because we're looking at lustful things the night before. If you're watching porn before you go to sleep every single night so you can end up sleeping, are you surprised that you get these dreams? Like, let's be serious. You're opening doors to Satan to allow the succubus spirit or the incubus spirit. And I'm going to break this down because a lot of baby Christians and a lot of Christians, they don't talk about these things in churches. So I'm going to break it down for you guys. A succubus spirit attacks men. It's a female demon that comes into your dreams, and you give it access when you do lustful acts. You open doors to Satan. Pornography, masturbation, fornication, any act of sexual immorality, even looking at a woman lustfully throughout the day and thinking about that and not rebuking it, right? That allows the enemy to get into your heart. So when you go to sleep, you get these dreams that reflect your spiritual state. Incubus spirit attacks females. It's either a man, it could be a man in your dream in the form of a man, right? That is attacking you through your dreams. Maybe you're having sex with this guy. Maybe it's someone you don't even know in your dream. It's not a person, it's a demon. It could be someone you actually knew. It could be your ex-boyfriend, or it could be your ex-girlfriend. I had this in my own life. It wasn't my ex-girlfriend. It wasn't your ex-boyfriend. It's not your ex-boyfriend. It's a literal familiar spirit. And a familiar spirit is someone, it's kind of in the name. It impersonates someone you know in real life. So I'm telling you right now, you need to cut off those soul ties that you have in your life. And I'm going to make another video breaking this down as well. This is a huge problem that we don't even understand we're dealing with. We think these lustful dreams are natural. Let's be serious, they're not. Do you think it's God's will for you to have sex with a demon in your dreams? Obviously not. Philippians 4 verses 8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Now, let's ask ourselves a question. Why do you think Paul is telling us to think about these things? Why do you think that we must think about these things and not things of lust? Because what we think about can also appear in our dreams. When we, like I said earlier, ruminate on something we've seen, maybe it's a girl that looks good, or like we see something on social media, scrolling. That's why I highly recommend that you do not scroll on social media mindlessly, because you're literally exposing yourself. Spiritually, you're opening doors to Satan. Even if you're scrolling past something and you get your phone and you see something, you're scrolling, you see some girl shaking her butt, right? And then you just like keep looking. You're literally opening the door. You're giving Satan access. And then you guys come to my DMs and you say, Noah, I'm getting these wet dreams. I'm struggling with lust. When you're literally doing this to yourself, bro. So I'm going to give you guys, what do you do after you have a sexual dream? What do you do once you wake up, right? Because sometimes we fall into sin because we think we've already sinned. We think we're already guilty of sin. So let's just continue with it. And that's a lie from the enemy. So here are 3 things that you must do once you wake up from a sexual dream. All right. The first thing is this: you must pray against it, because it is a demonic attack. It is a seed that the enemy is trying to plant in your mind. There's so many times in my past where I had these sexual dreams and I didn't pray against it. I just woke up and just went about the day. But in my mind throughout the day, I was constantly thinking about what happened in that dream, and that led me to fall into lust later on in the day, right? Think about it for a second. It's literally a seed. You see, in the Bible, I forgot where it is, but it says while they were sleeping, its enemy planted seeds and tares into the wheat. The enemy's trying to plant seeds in your mind while you're sleeping, because you can't control yourself. You're not in control. That's when you're most vulnerable, and that's when you need to pray about. So you must remind yourself that you aren't guilty of sin because you haven't sinned. But if you allow that influence to make you think about those lustful thoughts, and it makes you do something lustful like masturbation, right? Then that is a sin. So I'm gonna say it point blank, white and black. Wet dreams are not a sin inherently, but they can cause you to sin when you wake up and do something sinful because you were influenced by that dream. Now, the guilt is from the enemy when you wake up from lust. Do not allow that guilt to be in your mind, or to think about that and think it was your fault, because it's not. You can't control that, but you have responsibility over the future, right? And I'm going to talk about that in a second. You must close any doors you've opened to Satan, because if you have wet dreams, and sometimes, I'll say this as well, sometimes you don't have open doors. Sometimes you're escaping from sexual immorality. That's my case, right? From time to time, I do get these dreams, and I continue to pray against them. Do not get discouraged. Sometimes you will get these dreams, even if you're not living in sin, even if you're not doing things that are sexual on a day-to-day basis. But you must continue to persist in prayer. You must continue to pray against these things whenever you get them, and eventually you'll come to a point where you do not get them anymore. Because I'll tell you this right now, bro. You need to wake your butt up, bro. It's time to stop playing around. You know exactly what is causing these wet dreams. So listen up, okay? Like I said, close any doors. It could be a female that you're sleeping with every night, even if you're not married to this woman. It could be a text, right? You could be sexting somebody on your phone. You could be seeing something like an OnlyFans model on Instagram. These are these open doors you're letting Satan in. And it could also be anything else. It doesn't have to be just sexual actions. It could be drinking alcohol with the intent to get drunk. It could be smoking weed to get high. It could be binge eating. When you open any sin, it could open doors to Satan. And this is why a lot of people think God is trying to restrict us or make us unhappy by having these laws in place. No, he's protecting us with these commandments, because sin has consequences. It's a universal law. When you do sin, you give demons legal rights to your soul to influence you. And I'll break that down in another video as well. Legal, all this stuff, you probably never heard of it because your pastor probably hasn't talked about it. And that's a shameful thing. If they have, good. But the third thing you must understand as well is this, okay? You need to fill your mind, because listen up, okay? You cannot just take out the sin and then leave an empty hole in your heart. You must replace it with something else. Stop scrolling before you go to sleep. You, bro, I might seem angry, but I'm very passionate, because this is exactly what I used to do. And I'm so like fired up, because I used to scroll before I went to sleep, watch porn before I go to sleep. And I was surprised why I had these lustful dreams. Let's use our brains for a second. Do you think scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours is going to help you overcome wet dreams? Do you really think, like, actually use your brain for a second? Like, let's be real. Replace that scrolling with things that are going to edify your spirit. Maybe while you sleep, you put on some worship music. I do that all the time. My speaker's right here. Every single night I sleep with music. Because listen, bro, like, you know what you have to do. You don't even have to be watching my videos. You don't even have to. I'll be honest with you. You have all the answers. So fill your mind with things of God. Worship music. Replace scrolling before you go to sleep with reading the Bible. My Bible is literally on my bed. Well, it's right there, but it's on my bed usually before I go to sleep, because I know my mind has a proclivity to seek dopamine before I go to sleep. But you must understand that when you do that, you're opening yourself up to Satan. Now, with that said, you must pray before you go to sleep as well. That's very important, because when you don't pray, you're basically like, it says in the Bible, a person without self-control is like a city with no walls. You're vulnerable. And it doesn't really connect to this, but it has a certain thing. A prayerless Christian is a powerless Christian is a powerless Christian, and a And a prayerful Christian is a powerful Christian, okay? Remember these things, and I know it's going to help you overcome those wet dreams. And also, I hope this gave you a realization of what wet dreams really are. They're not a sin, but they are a reflection of your spiritual state. Now, with that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys can show some support by subscribing, like the video, and send this video to honestly, like as many friends as you can, because I think every single Christian has had wet dreams before. Let's just be real. But if you guys want to join a community of men that are going to help you become the greatest version of yourself, click the first link in the description and I'll see you on the other side. But with that said, in a world full of, well, I don't have the sign anymore. It got replaced by my guitar. Anyways, in a world full of problems, choose peace, y'all.